of the broadcast as well, so that you can, bring yourself into tune, or in tune with what we are going to be discussing this hour. Okay. So after reading the description of the broadcast, the next is for you to like it. Some people say that they actually like the broadcast first before anything else, whatever works for you. But don't forget to share it as well. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends, your frenemies. I'm sorry, your frenemies. Tell them that Mayegu today, Mayegu is live. Today, the charade, the charm, as well as the continued persecution of the leader of the IPOB, indigenous people of the Biafra, Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu. So the persecution continues, because I call it persecution. It is not even a prosecution, not even close, right? So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being persecuted for demanding for a peaceful referendum where the people of Biafra, the Easterners in Nigeria, will decide if they still want to be part of this contraption or not. And also, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not actually, at the time, he was not just talking about the Biafrans. He was talking about the rest of the contraption, the people from other places who are victims of a rigged system like yours. So then they went on to kidnap him after the assassination attempt on his life failed. So they went on to kidnap him from Kenya, brought him back to Nigeria, then charged him for terrorism. That's what they call it, terrorism. And then they have been presenting their supposed witnesses. So we've had the witness one, the first witness, PW1, or witness AAA. We have heard that of the second witness. These are the prosecution witnesses. So presented by the Dokwemu Stupid Service, DSS. So the second witness, called the PW2 or BBB. These two witnesses were trashed. Their supposed evidence were mere just a word of mouth that became almost nothing. Well, became nothing so far for those who have been paying attention to the supposed retrial, the persecution. Okay. So the last time that the defense counsel, that is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, especially the lead counsel, right, cross-examined the supposed second witness. You remember that same guy who came back to say, I don't know, I'm not aware, I didn't know that, I didn't hear that, didn't see that, no, sorry, my lord, I didn't know. And he was supposed to be the witness whose evidence will be used in convicting Nnamdi Kanu. So it became like so watery, a sham, enough that everyone in the courtroom were just laughing, because it is not only the abuse of a legal process, right? It is actually a total abuse of a power, which Nigeria criminals are pretty much like a professional agents in that regard, right? So the third witness, they've called one. They've called a third witness today after the arrival of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court. So this third witness and the cross-examination that took place between them, I would read them back to you. Trust on that. But there are some certain things that I want to point out from what came to light in their courtroom today. So it is said that when Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya, drugged, unconscious until he got to Nigeria, and even when he got to Nigeria, it was, refused access to here. I don't know how to describe this probably to you. So they put a hood over his head, okay? And it wasn't just the black hood, all right? It was gagged. It was gagged under that hood, so he won't be able to actually make any sound. And the only space for him to actually access here is also so restricted. Nnamdi Kanu was locked under the what they call the solitary confinement. In that cross-examination the last time, right? The supposed witness, the DSS guy who interviewed, meaning interrogated Nnamdi Kanu when they brought him to Nigeria, right? And the guy categorically said that they locked him up in the solitary confinement for months. And according to the supposed health professionals, okay, and human rights, advocates and what have you, see, somebody must not, because solitary confinement is actually a punishment, right? And one must not be in that solitary confinement for more than 2 days. Nnamdi Kanu spends months in solitary confinement, right? That at a point for him to actually say, okay, so what they are saying, and for these guys who are like psychologically like torturing him and the rest, right? For him to probably enjoy a bit of leniency, right? He had to give them what they wanted. So they were asking him to implicate himself and do all of that. You know what I mean? And if he didn't, he will remain in solitary confinement for as long as this individual was interested. So all of that came to light in their courtroom today. It got so bad enough that they restricted here access to Nnamdi Kanu. That the first day they brought him back from Kenya, it was so bad that he was actually bleeding from his own nose. So all of this came to light in their court today. The torture, the psychological torture, the denial, the threats, and all that. Therefore, everything they said they have on record of Nnamdi Kanu will be ruled as being obtained under threats, intimidation, and duress. So now to know if they are going to be admissible in their court or not, so the judge had to ask Nnamdi Kanu one personally, like, is this true? Like, is it true that he subjected you to all of this? In which Nnamdi Kanu affirmed, yes, my lord, and then described. The judge had to give him a pen and paper to describe what it was before they obtained those supposed statements from him. So that's what we're going to deal with this evening. I almost call it off tonight, but it's just going to pile up, okay? So I'm not going to be taking calls later this evening, but I shall, as usual, give you something worth your time. So let's go to that court in that contraption today, where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came for that is sham trial. I call it sham trial because it's not a real trial. Trust me, it's not. There we go.
People should come out. Mandela, in a block. When I get one problem now. Can I pass, please? I don't know, wait.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Okay.
DK. Now let's go into that courtroom, okay? And as usual, let me read back to you the supposed transcription of the cross-examination of the third prosecution witness. Witness CCC. So what transpired? How did it go? Now let's go through that quickly. So, like I told you earlier, right? The interrogation per se. Like today's cross-examination is to further look into what they are presenting as evidence. I'm talking about the Document Stupid Service, DSS, what they have as evidence of Nnamdi Kanu involvement in terrorism as the charges read. Initially, they charged him, they dropped that one though. Initially, they charged him for treason, that he was trying to break up Nigeria. So, treasonable felony. And they dropped that because, like, there's no single proof of him doing anything wrong. It's all trumped up sham trial, so to say. Okay. So they dropped that. Now they are charging him for terrorism. So they brought all these fakeless witnesses. And from their responses, you know, you get to know that the entire thing is just a show. Unfortunately, right? People's lives are also involved. You get what I mean? So let's go into that their courtroom. So said the prosecution lawyer asking the prosecution witness some questions. It's called the cross-examination in their words, right? So call that witness, Mr. CCC, is male, a DSS officer, who said that he's been working for the DSS, or he's been working as a DSS operative for 27 years, right? And he said he knows Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu. So the whole thing started from 9 a.m. this morning. Now, prosecution witness said CCC rather, witness CCC. Said he knows Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu. Everybody knows Nnamdi Kanu. So now the prosecution lawyer, right? Yeah, it's the transcription now. Okay, so the prosecution lawyer asked, "Can you please tell the court who you are and if you know the defendant?" So, Mr. CCC, or the witness, I work with the SSS. I worked for 27 years. I've worked for 27 years. I know the defendant is the leader of the founder, so is the leader and founder of the IPOB. He said a terrorist organization. He founded Radio Biafra. He used to invite violence to the public. That's what the witness said. Like choreographed, of course. Say that, okay, just say it. Now it's only when it comes to them to prove it. That is where you begin to hear the Bulaba, blue, Bala blue, and all that, right? Anyway, so he continued. He said, my first encounter with him was in 2015 when I was asked to interrogate him after his arrest. I invited him with 3 other officers for interview. I told him his interview was going to be recorded and he agreed. He agreed to be recorded and also wrote down a statement himself. The interview was conducted on October 21st, and written interview was on the 23rd of October in 2015. So the prosecution team now present the video interview and written statement of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to the witness for identification, and he confirmed both. So the prosecution lawyer asked, "You also told the court that the defendant made written statement, right?" Right, and the prosecution, the prosecution team takes a permission to show the defendant the written statement obtained in 2015. So in that written statement and video, right, said written statement is shown. I mean, then it's shown to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You know, courtroom now. Is this the statement you took in 2015? They will show it to the witness. Yes, my lord. Is this the statements you wrote in 2015, defendant? So Nnamdi Kanu will look. Yes, my lord. Do you understand that scenario, right? So that's what I'm trying to paint there. So the judge, hang on, said the defense counsel now interjects. This is where the drama started now, okay? Said, my client says the said written statements was under duress. And the judge to the defense team, you mean the three statements were made under duress? With a question mark. And the judge, again, can you prove it? Otherwise, I'm going to order trial within trial. You have to prove it in specifics that your client made the statements involuntarily, under duress. So then the judge asked the defendant to give element of his involuntariness to the written statement. Asked Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be given a sheet of paper to write them down. His involuntariness. That means what really happened before they obtained those information from you. And Nnamdi Kanu wrote, said, I asked for my lawyer and the DSS refused. It wasn't the gentleman in the dock that interviewed me. It was one Mr. Brown. I was in dungeon and I was allowed 1 hour of airtime. But Mr. Brown threatened that if I did not write down what they wanted, the 1 hour airtime would be taken away from me. I was forced by the DSS agent to write down some words against my will. And I was bleeding from the nose at that time. So at that point, the judge turned again. What do you, now it actually turned to the prosecution now. You see, the DSS lawyer and their lawyer turned to them and he said, what do you have to say about the said involuntariness? And the prosecution lawyers replied, he was not beaten to make these statements. So the prosecution now turned to the witness and said, you also told the court the defendant made written statements. And the witness said, yes, my lord. At that point, the judge also interjected, stood up, cutting, said, there's going to be trial within trial. Meaning we need to find out what you did to him, all you did to him. Because if you obtained any form of a statement, whether a confession or whether a statement or admittance or to anything, or if you obtain them under duress, that the supposed defendant gave those information involuntarily, like you forced it out of him, then such evidence will become useless. It cannot be admitted. So it may sound like, that sounds like the judge possibly want to do the right thing. Please don't bank on it. Okay, don't bank on it. It is the lawfare against Nnamdi Kanu, right, is wholly sponsored by the Fulani establishment in that contraption. Okay, so do not bank on it. But yeah, that's exactly what happened there, in that court. So there's no point in trying to admit or take your evidence, mister. If your evidence is obtained with force, torture, threats, intimidation, and what have you. So now they are doing what is called the trial within trial. All right. So here is what trial within trial is described as. Okay, they say a trial within trial is a legal procedure used in criminal trials particularly in jurisdictions like Nigeria, where a confessional statement, that is, a statement made by the accused admitting to a crime, is tendered as evidence, is essentially a mini trial within